What's up, world? Welcome back to another episode of Just Grow It, the podcast, just like the hoodie says. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we're talking about what to do with all of the leaves that you see in your garden. All right, so I know it's fall time, autumn time, and that means that the leaves are going to be everywhere. But rather than raking them and throwing them away, let me give you some quick tips on how you can use them in your garden. All right. Leaves are abundant during this time of year. You'll often see people just bagging them up and leaving them on the curb. And that's cool for you because they've already done a lot of the work. Grab those bags and take them back to your garden. All right. So the first way that you can use leaves in your garden is to create leaf mold. And if you're unaware, leaf mold is basically it's the best compost that you can create, or at least in my opinion. It's one of the best composts that you can create. It's up there with mushroom compost as well. All right, so in order to make leaf mold, all you're going to do is just contain your leaves in a wire bin, a compost bin, or even just the plastic bags that you pick them up off the curb from, and allow these leaves to break down. Once they break down, they turn into leaf mold. Leaf mold is just decomposed leaves. They're full of micronutrients. They improve the soil structure. They feed the plants. You can use that leaf mold like mulch. I mean, you just have a plethora of options when it comes to leaf mold. Okay? But the catch is it can take 1 to 2 years for the leaves to break down. So you have to be patient. But if you start now, you can start grabbing these bags of leaves, tucking them away, and then throughout the years, for the next couple of years, you can just have leaf mold on deck and ready to go. All right, the second way that I like to use leaves in the fall is to make sure I add them to my compost bins. If you haven't, you should go back and check out the Just Grow It episode with Rick Carr, where we talk about composting, and he'll tell you that you need a mix of browns and greens. Browns being your carbon-rich sources, greens being your nitrogen sources. Well, leaves work as a carbon-rich or brown source. So if you remember, whenever we're setting up compost bins or whenever we're composting, you want to have just a nice mix or a nice blend between your browns and greens. These free leaves that we can get, hey man, those are an easy way to add browns into our compost bin and help create some of the best compost that you have ever had. The third way that we can use leaves in the garden is to use them as mulch. All right, so by simply layering 2 to 3 inches of leaves on top of our soil, we get all of the benefits that you would get from any other kind or any other form of organic mulch. So they'll break down, they will help improve our soil quality, improve certain characteristics with the soil. They will feed the soil, they will feed the microorganisms, they'll help keep the soil insulated. I mean, look, we know all of the benefits of mulching. And if you don't, check out the episode where we talk about mulching and the benefits of mulching. Now, the fourth way that I like to use leaves in the garden is to really improve the consistency, to improve the characteristics of my soil. And I do that by shredding up leaves, maybe running over them with the lawnmower, and then working those leaves into the soil. So it's very similar to using it like mulch, but this way we're incorporating it into the soil. You'll still get all of the same benefits, right? As it breaks down and decomposes, it will feed the soil food web, which means you'll have more of the little guys. And if you have more of the little guys, the little microorganisms, you'll end up getting more of the big guys, the earthworms, or the things that people think and basically associate with healthy soil. All right, so that's another way to use them is just by shredding them and incorporating them into the soil. Now, be careful when you incorporate them into the soil. Don't put excessive amounts. People will tell you things like the excessive amounts of leaves or wood chips will give you nitrogen deficiencies. I mean, look, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that it could just make it a little bit harder to sow seeds and things like that. Go crazy with the leaves in your soil, but there's always a fine line. Don't put too much, don't put too little. The last way that I recommend using these leaves in the fall or in the winter is to use them to create a no-dig type of bed, okay? If you don't know, no-dig beds are ways to create garden beds that don't involve you actually digging into the soil. You basically are building beds on top of the soil. So with these leaves, we can use them to lay down a nice 2-3 inch layer of brown leaves. Then we mix a little bit of greens on top, and then we just kind of lasagna it. All right, put down these layers, and as these layers break down, it just turns into nutrient rich soil that we can then plant in. All right, so those are some many different ways that you can use leaves in your garden this fall. Whatever you do, don't just rake them up and throw them away. Find a way to incorporate them into your gardening. Because if you don't know, that's what I'm about, right? We're trying to find, one, I try to get as many people to garden as possible, but then I also want to make gardening as accessible as possible. So this is a free way to help make your soil better. If you repeat this process year after year, if we keep adding leaves to our soil, if we keep bagging up these leaves and tucking them away and letting them break down into leaf mold, before you know it, you'll end up with the best soil on the block, the best soil. You'll be like envious. All of your friends will be envious of you. They will want your soil, and you can tell them that you did it all for free by simply bagging up the leaves and using the leaves in soil. I like natural farming, and something that you read in a lot of natural farming books is basically work with nature. Use nature to help your gardening process. Don't try to work against it. All right. We get a lot of free inputs. We have a lot of different ways to help make our garden better. And by using leaves in our garden, that's another way we can do that. That's it for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in to Just Grow It. Maybe cop a hoodie, maybe cop a t-shirt, whatever, man. It's your world. Whatever you do, don't forget to just grow it. That's it. We're out. Before I let you go, I need you to do more than one thing. First, I need you to like, comment, subscribe to the podcast. Second, I need you to tell a friend or two about the show if you enjoyed it. And if you have anybody you think I need to talk to, I should interview, send the name over, put it in the comments, or send me an email, igrow@BigCityGardener. And check me out, man, on Instagram and on all social media platforms, Big City Gardener. We out. Oh, almost forgot. Just grow it.